There is indeed a strong appetite for big data growth in Asia. More and more enterprises are using data and analytics to fuel innovation, or in fact to accelerate innovation. There was a recent study done by IDC, in fact, that estimated the market size for this particular area will grow to about 27 billion by 2022. Also, Gartner had released a survey recently talking to enterprise customers, which also is fueling some of this growth, is around just the adoption of hybrid cloud and customers moving to hybrid architecture over time. I think if you take a macro level first, any business theme, whether it's 5G, which of course telcos in the region are starting to pilot 5G, you look at cashless economics, regulatory compliance, digital healthcare, things such as smart city initiatives. All of those themes at a macro level are driving increased use of data, but more importantly, increased use of analytics of data, so analyzing the data, and also governance of data. Those things at a macro level are what driving the need for our platform more in these markets. It's really three areas, I would say. One, customers are nervous about lock-in. There was a recent study done by Harvard Business Review, and 1 in 8 customers, in fact, had slowed their adoption of public cloud for fear of lock-in. That's one. Skills is another area. Obviously, finding talent, attracting talent in the area of analytics, machine learning, AI. That's also a concern for customers. And the third area I would say really is around openness. So the fear of lock-in is not just at a public cloud layer, it's also at every layer of the stack. And an example of that would be really, which is true to our heritage and DNA of the company, is we are open source, but a part of that, of course, we are open API. We are open to storage at that layer. It also means customers has freedom of choice to decide on a particular technology at all layers of the stack, from visualization all the way down to ingestion. And then being freed up from lock-in from public cloud. So in our platform, we support Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud, and also hybrid and on-premise. And that freedom gives customers a lot of choice. It comes back to the skills thing, and it's really around making the tools that we develop easier to use and therefore more pervasive in enterprise. Give you a very specific example of that. One of the services that we launched last month was a machine learning service as a cloud native offering. And what it allows data scientists to do is to use skills that they have already learned out of university, for example, Python or R, and to use standard open source tools such as TensorFlow and other things to do data science and to do things like create models, train models, and operationalize machine learning models in enterprise, but to do that with skills that they're already familiar with. That will make it easier for technology to be consumed. It makes it easier for customers to roll out new use cases as well. Coupled with the fact of public cloud now, it makes it easier to get access to compute. So we've kind of hit an inflection point if you think about it. And what's happened is big data itself is nothing new as a problem or a challenge for enterprises. It's been around for 10, 11 years. What happened now is that cost of compute has come down, and accessibility to compute has become easier through the advent of public cloud. So what does that mean is that if I'm a data scientist and I need to create a model, a machine learning model to automate the decision of a particular process or task, I can get to compute much easier than I would ordinarily if it was on-premise. First thing would be to have a very bold vision, to think big, to be very aspirational about what data can do for enterprise, but to start small and to iterate often. Transformation is not a short-term thing. It's not something that organizations can achieve in a 12-month time frame. And many of our customers are on a journey, 2-3 year journey in deploying many use cases, 50, 60 use cases in production. The second thing would be around embracing open. Embracing open means embracing open standards, embracing open source, where a lot of the innovation for this is happening today. And by doing that, you're future-proofing against decisions that you make today. The third one is around the point that this is a transformation across the entire organization. It's not a transformation for just IT, it's transformation across the entire organization. So what does that mean? It means that the message around becoming data-driven has to be top-down, but also bottom-up. It has to be embedded into the entire culture of the organization. Well, 5G will enable applications that weren't possible before, just because of the bandwidth capabilities, which will create an opportunity for a whole raft of new applications built around IoT, for example. And so really with that comes the opportunity to develop ways to ingest that kind of data that wasn't possible before, and to ingest that data in a way that you can then apply things like analytics, but also go deeper than that to apply things like machine learning and AI to automate decisions that used to be done manually